Good evening, everyone. Today is day 69 of my 90-day video blog challenge. My name is Latoya, and tonight, okay, so I've never watched the series Glee or anything like that, but I watched it today just because, I had some work to do and I wanted something playing in the background. And the episode that I watched, it's a black lady and a white gentleman who are battling as to whether or not they should be in a relationship. Now, number one, I'm actually quite surprised in a good manner that they actually put something like this on TV. And number two, I'm kind of disappointed that we're still on this issue. All these years later, and all the different technologies and just different theories, different places and discoveries and everything that we've come across in all this time in our human race, and it still boils down to what ethnic group you are. And it's really sad. It really is. And, so I'm sitting here watching this and I'm thinking, well, number one, I guess we're making some improvements if this is actually on TV and on a show where they're actually talking about it, number one. And then number two, that, it seems like no matter how far ahead we get, we're still so primitive, as far as our thinking, as far as our thought process. I've always told people that you can take a baby and take a bunch of kids, let's say about 9 months old. You can take a whole bunch of them. They're walking, they're crawling and everything else. And they will be in a room together and they will be friends and play together and just carry on, because not one of them cares about what race or nationality the other one is. We need to get to that point where we actually embrace the other nationalities and what they bring to the table. And I'm not saying I'm not at fault. I mean, there's stereotypes that you grow up with that are embedded in you as you get older. But at that same token, that's what life is. Life is experiences, and learning that way. And those that you've come across, you see they're not the way that, stereotypes will always depict them. Like I'm not always walking around eating chicken and watermelon, Just like I'm sure every white person I'll ever come across isn't in their backyard shooting it up in the sky with a beer in hand and talking about, yeah, so those, there are things that you grow up with and the stereotypes that you grow up with, and that eventually as you get older you're supposed to reach some type of maturity level, some type of understanding in life that takes you further and beyond those stereotypes to where you can understand and see it's just a stereotype. It doesn't mean that that's how all people are. Now, I'm not saying there's no bad eggs out there. There's bad eggs in every race, every nationality, every country, everywhere. There's always bad apples. I don't care what it is, trees, fruit, whatever. There's always bad apple. But it just still amazes me how far behind we are. And if we really and truly understood life here on earth, your nationality wouldn't even be an issue. No one's would. But then there would be a lot of things that wouldn't be an issue, that wouldn't be talked about, wouldn't be necessary to discuss, or wouldn't be such a big deal if put on TV. And like I said, it's just sad that we haven't evolved to that point. I'm hoping one day we do, that we wake up and that we realize that, some of the things that we believe just aren't true. Like I like meeting other people. I like dealing with other cultures because there's a lot that you get to learn from, a lot that you get to take. And, things, people see things differently depending on how they grew up and what their culture was and what their beliefs were, It's a different viewpoint. For example, at my job, we have the opportunity to go to a museum and take a tour. So you have the Holocaust Museum, you have the African American Museum, you have Arab American Museum. This is a bunch of museums that we have here in Detroit. So it's different one of them that they have tours that set up, for people who work in my job. And we get to go out there. And everybody's like, oh, I'm going to go to the African Museum because they're black. Well, I know most of our history, and I've been to the African Museum already. So what I want to do is go to a different culture that I don't know too much about. So I'm choosing to go to the Arab American one because I don't really know a whole lot about their culture. I know very little. And, good opportunity to learn more. Maybe even some more on the positive side. Because I will say this, when I had trouble with my oldest son and I need to give him some counseling and things like that, it was the Arab Americans who actually came to my rescue and helped me. You know, it wasn't anybody else. It was them. You know, and I went to United Way. I went to these other places, the school counseling and children's center and all these other different places, and it was always some kind of runaround, whether this or that, this or that. And then someone suggested try ACC, which is American Chaldean Council, or I think community, I forget what the last C is for, but I tried them, and guess what, they were the ones that assisted me. They were the ones that got everything's taken care of. They were the ones that sat back and made sure my son got tested and found out that he had Asperger's, which is, you know, a form of autism. You know, he's on the high function end, but he still has it nonetheless. And it was them who actually got that realized. So it's something to be said about other cultures, and especially, like, I know I talk a lot about how American society is just so individualistic, and how most other cultures are very family orientated. You know, they take care. You might have a grandma and grandpa living in the house with the mom and dad and the four kids, and, you know, or the daughter who's older because she's not married yet, she's still at home. You know, it's the different dynamics, you know. So it's just, and then the background, you know, just, I keep saying, you know, I know. But either way it goes, you know, it's so much to be learned if we were just to come together. If we were to come together on so many things, we could really change some stuff. But times being what they are, and stair steps that we take, I shouldn't even say stair steps, they're baby steps, infant steps, that we take towards, you know, making a difference in that. Hopefully one day we'll get there. So that's my message for tonight, and hopefully somebody gets something out of it. And that's it. So you guys have a good night. Like always, thank you so much for watching, and I do look forward to your comments, which you're always free to leave, and I do read them. And that's it. So good night, everybody.